Now that we are done with the dicot stem and the roots of both monocots and dicots, we are going to move further to the monocot stem, and you may take the example of maize or any grass stem can be taken for consideration. Now we are going to see the transverse section of the stem and what we come across that you have to keep in your mind, and as your syllabus demands from you to have a good idea of representing it in a diagrammatic way, so please pay attention how the diagram is made, and you need to practice it in your own hand so that you get a better idea of how a monocot stem would look under the microscope when you make a section of it. Which section? That is of course the transverse section we are talking about. Now consider this is a maize plant, you cut it like this. We have had an idea about it, that how a transverse section of maize would be cut down, how we are going to make a slide, and when observed under the microscope we had taken an idea that how a stem looks like as well. Now for your consideration, how to make a diagram, how to represent it in a diagrammatic form, this thing has to be made by your hand. You have to practice it. It's better you practice it in your own hand. You have to make an outermost layer, keeping in mind that it would be single layered. All right, the single layered outermost layer would be known as epidermis. So the first point that you have to remember, that the outermost layer happens to be epidermis. Now while we are doing this, do keep in mind that what similarities and what dissimilarities are being discussed in terms of dicot stem that we have discussed earlier. So it had an epidermis, it is having an epidermis as well. There could be stem hair as well which could be present. So they are present in least number though, but you can consider it that the stem hair could be present, but excluding that we have a thin layer of cuticle which surrounds the epidermis. So you have to remember this red lining that outlines this green layer of cells is the cuticle. So we have a thick cuticle which lines the epidermis, which is single layered. Now as we move inside, from outside to inside we have to move, and we have to see these four things that are present inside our monocot stem. The first one is the outermost layer, which was otherwise called epiblema in the root. Over here we call it epidermis. It is lined by a lining known as cuticle. Moving further, we have 3 to 4 layers of sclerenchymatous cells, as you can see, which I have represented over here using the red color. This bunch of cells, 3 to 4 layers of cells, is sclerenchymatous in origin. Now what is sclerenchymatous? We did talk about that sclerenchyma is that type of plant tissue which gives it strength. Alright, so the monocot stem, whatever strength it is having, it is due to this 3 to 4 layered sclerenchymatous hypodermis. So the next thing that you have to remember is that the hypodermis, which is 3 to 4 layered thick, is present beneath the epidermis in a monocot stem. Now moving further, we have the third constituent, that is the ground tissue. Now because it is ground tissue, you can relate it somewhat to pith, but don't get confused, it is not pith, it is simple parenchymatous ground tissue. So while the hypodermis was sclerenchymatous, we have parenchyma cells which are scattered with distinct intercellular spaces in between. They could be present in greater quantity as well, which I have not represented it in the diagram. You just have to make bunch of cells which show that the parenchymatous cells, the green ones over here, they represent the ground tissue which is parenchymatous in origin. So we have a parenchyma rich cell, ground tissue which is present. Alright, there could be distinct intercellular spaces in this ground tissue. Now unlike the dicot stem where the ground tissue was in the form of pith and we had that wavy pattern of vascular bundles, this particular arrangement of vascular bundles which you see over here is, these three are the vascular bundles, these three. Alright, now these are the vascular bundles which are scattered inside the ground tissue base. Now this ground tissue was parenchymatous, and now we come to the vascular bundles. Of course, because we are talking about vascular bundles and we had a generalization that it is having xylem and phloem. So these these vascular bundles would have xylem and phloem, and we have them arranged and scattered in the base of ground tissue. Now, talking about the vascular bundle, one thing you have to keep in mind is that there is a wreath-like arrangement, single layer of cells. This is a wreath-like. Wreath is what? Wreath is a covering. So, we have a wreath-like arrangement of cells which is otherwise known as bundle sheath. Now, this is something new which was not present in the dicot stem. We have a new term, that is bundle sheath. Please keep in mind that the vascular bundles in a monocot stem are surrounded by a single layer of cells which are closely arranged, and that close arrangement of cells is known as bundle sheath. Now, moving inside the bundle sheath, what lies inside the vascular bundle? We have this part, this tube-like part that I have represented with blue color, that is xylem, alright, and this is phloem, this black part is phloem. Now, here my diagram is a little bit wrong because it was wrong on purpose. Why? Because I wanted you to know that the vascular bundles, talking about xylem, the xylem has to be arranged in a Y-shaped pattern. Alright, something like this. Xylem would be arranged in a Y-shaped pattern. Now, like this. Over here, please remember the arrangement of xylem in the vascular bundle of monocot stem is such that it forms a Y-shaped pattern. We have two branches of Y and the one which extends the lower arm. Now, this part would have metaxylem. You know what is metaxylem? We had discussed that the metaxylem has larger diameter. Okay, the tube diameter is larger. Metaxylem, and the lower one has protoxylem. So, as you can see over here, this is how you have to make the vascular bundle, because you have to practice its diagram. So, you make it like this. You have a larger diameter xylem at this end, another at this end. Now, the smaller ones, the ones which are formed when the stem is smaller, lie at the lower arm. So, this is the arrangement of vascular bundles, xylem particularly. Now, once you have understood how the xylem looks like, how it is arranged, not looks like, you don't have to pay attention to how it looks like at this stage when you're representing the transverse section. This is the xylem, and outside to it lies the phloem. Now, inside the vascular bundle, rest of the part, now this is phloem, this is xylem, rest of the part is again the parenchymatous tissue that would surround the vascular bundles. Now, the way I have represented it, it is somewhat like a line diagram, though it is not a line diagram, but you have to keep in mind that you have to make a Y-shaped, it looks like somebody's face though, you have to make a Y-shaped xylem, outer to it you have to make a phloem, and rest of the part would show the parenchymatous tissue, and it would be surrounded by bundle sheath cells. So, this is what a vascular bundle of monocot stem looks like. Now, we have talked about xylem. Talking about the phloem, one point you have to remember that the phloem does not contain phloem parenchyma. Now, in case you are confused at what it was, phloem itself is a complex tissue which has different types of cells, and the parenchyma which is part of phloem happens to be phloem parenchyma. So, the phloem parenchyma part is absent in the case of monocot stem. Now, take a look at the diagram. This you would find in your books as well. You have seen in the slide representation as well how this diagram looks like in particular. We are going to consider all the factors that we study in the end. Once we are done with all the stem, root and leaf, we are going to see better representations of the diagrams that actually look like under a microscope. This is also one of that, but please take an idea that what points are to be considered and what is to be remembered. In your diagram, you cannot get rid of the epidermis, cuticle, hypodermis, ground tissue and vascular bundles. These parts are to be included. Okay. Now, the remembering part is that what type of tissue constitutes which component of the monocot stem, that you have to remember that epidermis would certainly be parenchymatous. It would be surrounded by a cuticle, thin or thick cuticle, depending upon the habitat which the plant inhabits. The cuticle would be there. There would be a sclerenchymatous hypodermis that would be present. You have to remember the tissue constitution of it as well. Then moving further, we have the ground tissue, and lastly we have a vascular bundle. not a vascular bundle, many vascular bundles which are scattered in the ground tissue. And the vascular bundles have such an arrangement of phloem that it looks like a Y, where the lower arm represents the protoxylem while the upper one represents the metaxylem. There is an arrangement in such a way that the phloem lies outwards to the xylem and rest of it is again the parenchymatous tissue, which is surrounded by bundle sheath cells. So this part is also to be represented. In case you are asked to make a diagram, I would suggest you to use pencil colors because it gives a better idea, better representation, and it is easy to remember that way. So from diagrammatic point of view, whatever diagram you are going to make, while practicing, do use pencil colors for remembering it in a better way. Rest parts we have discussed, and this is all you have to remember about a monocot stem. Remember the examples as well. This is the easiest representation of a monocot stem, and I would learn the example, if given a choice, I would learn the example of maize. It is simplest monocot stem that we can have, and it gives a better idea of the arrangement. And for remembering purpose, you can remember it like you have cut a watermelon from center and its seeds are scattered in that reddish part. So this arrangement is such that you can consider the vascular bundles to be seeds of watermelon. The outermost layer would be epidermis, that green part, followed by the whitish part which is present in the watermelon. Those of you who consume watermelon, they must be knowing what I'm talking about. This outermost is the green part, then we have that white thin part, and rest of it is the reddish part, the edible part of the watermelon, where these things would be scattered like the seeds. So this is all about monocot stem.